First of all, we're really excited to represent Virginia Tech in the ACC in the new era Pinstripe Bowl. The Yankees have been very gracious and to Virginia Tech over the years. I think it's going to be very, very cool to play in Yankee Stadium for our players, for our coaches, and for the fans. With the connection with the Yankees. Witt and the administration were on a call yesterday, and we're finalizing the details to the trips. We're certainly excited to see a lot of Hokies travel up there. I know my wife and our kids are really looking forward to taking this trip, experiencing New York, in this time of year and Christmas time. So very exciting atmosphere in and around New York, and certainly are looking forward to the challenge of facing Coach Loxley and a very good Maryland Terrapins team. So with that, we're open for questions.
Just jump up and use the mic so they can hear you on Zoom.
Obviously, the last week or so has been kind of dominated by COVID surge, particularly in New York. Have you guys entered enhanced protocols here, and are there any plans to sort of be more cautious on site in New York and kind of how to, guard against an outbreak on site?
Yeah, the Yankees have been doing a wonderful job keeping our medical staff and training staff informed about the procedures and things to follow when you hit New York. Haven't really done anything more or less here. I don't think Blacksburg, Virginia is even close to a hotbed. So our guys have all been, we've been following the same protocol and procedures we followed, throughout the whole year. So they continue to do a great job, and our team continues to do things right as far as the COVID with the masks when we're required to wear masks, and everybody. It's like it's second nature now. Before, trying to get somebody to wear a mask, and you had to have the mask police, and you had to have guys remind them to wash their hands and stay apart and things like that. But after about 2 years dealing with this, I think these kids have really just become second nature to them.
JC, how have you structured some of these pre-bowl practices in terms of younger guys getting reps and older guys? I guess you're kind of forced to with some younger guys at certain spots. But what has that balance been like trying to strike that?
Well, it was going into it before everything. You talked about developing a little bit of a I guess as a coach you have two different mindsets. You have you structure it like a spring practice, and you try to get a lot of guys ready for next year, or do you We went about it as a staff thinking that since we are going to have a bunch of young guys already playing, that we were going to, I wanted things backed off. This is a reward. I didn't want them to be out there for a normal over 2 hour practice. That's not what we wanted. We wanted to make sure that these guys enjoy the bowl experience. It is a reward. So we've basically cut things down. We had limited individual time. But I also expressed to them there's a certain amount of work you need to put in to win the game, and we have done that. The inside drills, we've had spirited inside drills, where it was live. We've had good on good. We're hitting our situations, red zone, third down. We did a 2-minute drill, ones against ones, 2 against 2s today. So we're trying to simulate as much as we can, good 11 on 11, as we prepare for the game.
JC, I assume you've had a good amount of time to watch some film on Maryland. What stands out about Coach Loxley and the team he has put together and the challenge you're going to face on December 29th?
Well, they present issues in all three phases. They have, they've done a great job recruiting. They have athletes all over the place. What sticks out is, I recruited some of those young men, especially early stages of their high school careers, that they all went on to actually go into Maryland, not Marshall. But I know a couple of those guys, and they're good players. They got good players everywhere. They have good, strong backs. The running backs are good. The O-lines, they're big, they're powerful. They're a Big Ten team, and their season resembles ours. With their losses, they easily could have gone the other way. They could easily be an 8 or 9 win team. So. Our seasons mirror each other quite a bit, and it's going to be a tough challenge.
You mentioned that connection with the Yankees. How have you guys kind of covered that with a lot of the players being pretty young when that stuff happened?
Well, I'm a Virginia Tech guy, and everybody knows this is my school, so I knew the history. We've shown videos. We've talked about it. They're aware of it. They're aware that I told them before Ben Anderson made a great video. We watched some highlights from the game and just some news reports from when they were here in '08, and we talked about it. We just told them the history. We told them the background. We told them that people when something happens, you get that person that says, "Let me know if I can do something," or you have people that just do something. And for George Steinbrenner and those guys, and not just the money that them and all the players and the organization donated, but for them to donate their time, take time out of their schedule when they could have been anywhere else but Blacksburg, Virginia, to play a baseball game. That's what makes our feelings toward the Yankees very special. And hopefully we're going to be able to do something to I guess commemorate that. It's not quite 100% yet, but we got something special coming.
Braxton Burmeister entered the transfer portal at the start of the week. What were those conversations like? Was that kind of a surprise? I guess he has to play in the game, and you guys weren't comfortable with that. Could you take us into why not let him have a chance? Or?
Nah, I appreciate you bringing it up, but there's people that opt out all over the country, and I would rather just talk about the guys who are actually going to play in the game.
And then, at quarterback, did you have to elevate a walk-on to take reps at the 13, or as a third quarterback? How are you kind of handling the quarterback reps?
We've repped two guys, and just Blumrick and Taj have been taking the 1s and 2 reps, and obviously the third guy is taking some reps here and there, but we've basically repped 2 guys.
And Connor getting the start then?
Yes.
JC, you mentioned guys all over the all over the country opting out. You and Coach Beamer often said that there's no such thing as a bad bowl. Do you understand the thinking that goes into a young man opting out?
Like I said, I've said earlier when the bowl process started that I don't agree with it. So my fondest memories as a player was playing in the Independence Bowl and in the Sugar Bowl. I mean, we played in the Sugar Bowl my senior year, and I was a third-round draft pick, and never in my mind did it ever cross for me to sit out the game. Things are a little bit different now. I think with the emphasis they put in the playoff has devalued the bowl system a little bit. I think just because there's so many bowls, I think that devalues the bowl system a little bit. And I understand and I respect their decision, but I don't agree with it.
And then on the flip side, what kind of opportunity does that create for some of your younger players, particularly guys like Jones and Lofton at receiver who haven't had as much run and now have to step into a frontline role?
Well, you specifically talk about Jones and D. Lofton. I mean, y'all watched the Miami game, right? I mean, those guys stepped up and made huge plays in that when Trey ended up going down, and it's next man up and all that. But I've always grown up with the sense of competitive excellence. You have to continue to get ready while you stay ready. You don't get ready when the moment comes. And those 2 guys are a great example of 2 guys who have been continuing to get ready while they waited their turn. They haven't just waited. They've worked while they've waited. So when the moment presents itself, it's not too big for them. And, competitive excellence is you make the play when your number is called, no matter if you've had 100 reps in a game or just 1. And that's what those 2 guys have done. And a lot of young guys are going to be in that position. And you're going to see some fresh faces running around out there that haven't played a lot this year, and we expect them to perform.
Yes. Sort of speaking off of that, you have obviously good knowledge of the defensive line. You've lost some guys with opt-outs there, some injuries as well. What do you see in that group in terms of depth and some of the younger guys like Cole Nelson, Mateus Carroll, who might be able to play a little bit larger role?
Yeah, Carroll hasn't, Stretch hasn't played a lot during the year. He's played in a few games, and we wanted to maintain his red shirt. Cole's a guy who's played off and on since the Middle Tennessee game. Cole's been in the rotation and has taken reps. And this late in the year, I don't consider Cole a freshman anymore. He's played enough in big games, and that his experience level at this time of year is not one as a freshman. We try, with the red shirt deal, you're trying to maintain some guys' red shirts, and so there's a couple young guys who have played during the year. C.J. McCray, I would love for C.J. McCray to play. But if we play him one more time, then he loses his red shirt, and it's not worth that. So we want to maintain his red shirt. So it's just that. It's either the guys that we're trying to maintain red shirts or guys opting out. once again, guy, I've said it. There's no asterisks. You know, they're not gonna put an asterisk by this bowl after it's done and said Virginia Tech played well and won Maryland today or beat Maryland today despite this, or the Hokies lost, you know, despite this. That has nothing to do with it. It's a win or a loss. So we're gonna roll with the guys who want to be here, and we prepared. You know, we're prepared. We will be prepared, and the guys who are going to play have been coached all year. So it's not, especially I can speak specifically for the D line. You know, we rotated 12 guys through practice the entire year because we knew that's one position that does that there is some chances that people are going to not make it to the finish line. So you have to coach everybody, and I think our staff has done that all year, not just the D line. So I think those young guys, they sit in the meetings, they get walkthrough reps, they get, you know, we had a young gun scrimmage a couple times, so those guys they've heard these calls and they've executed these calls, so we expect them to do that in the game.
Do you know how many guys are right on that red shirt line?
Not off the top of my head.
Travis.
Hey, JC, growing up roughly 35, 40 minutes from College Park, did you follow the Maryland program as a kid? And did they recruit you at all? Were you a fan of them? I know they had some lean years after Coach Ross left, really until Coach Friesian got there.
Yeah, I remember growing up as a kid, and when Coach Ross was there, and I followed him. Obviously, I think I grew up 45 minutes from there, and played a couple times in state championship basketball games at Cole Fieldhouse and those things that were on Maryland campus at the time, and fond memories of Maryland. They did recruit me. They were in my final three. It came down to Virginia Tech, West Virginia, and Maryland. But alas, I chose the beauty of Blacksburg. That overcame all of it.
You mentioned repping the two quarterbacks for the bowl. Will Taj play? Definitely.
You know, we're talking about it, and we would like to. I think it would be really good to get Taj a series or two, but we're going to have to see how the game goes. You know, we're going there to win the game, and if we think that him playing a series or two is going to help us win the game, we're going to do it. If Connor's rolling and the offense is clicking, then I would not want to upset that. So, once again, we would like to, but it's all going to depend on how the game goes.
What have been, especially since taking over your colonel, what have been your impressions of Taj?
Well, it's not just even since I've taken over. It's the whole time you can't help but watch this guy that looks like a defensive end running around there and throwing the ball, and he's a really, really good young quarterback who's going to have a bright future. Glad he's here. There's some things I've never coached quarterbacks, so I can't speak intelligently on it. But I know one thing: when he first walked in, I thought the guy was a D end. You know, I was trying to recruit him to rush the passer. So his athletic ability is off the charts, and he's going to be a really good player in the future.
Is he excited about possibly making his debut sort of in his hometown?
I'm sure he is. I don't know. I didn't ask him. I haven't talked to him about that.
I did and can't confirm.
Coach, looking back throughout Tech's history, they've got a pretty decent history when it comes to playing in baseball stadiums. I mean, playing out in Giant Stadium, playing at the Diamondbacks, even the Superdome. They played baseball games there. Joe Robbie, and now adding this to the list. Just how neat is it to add, obviously, another baseball stadium in the bowl list for Virginia Tech?
I guess the baseball stadium it's. I was a GA when we played out in San Francisco in the Giant Stadium. I don't know if it's really the baseball stadium thing. I think it's just cool venues, like just things that, to walk into a stadium that has such a history, and whether it's baseball or football. I mean, if we ever got to play at Soldier Field, so I don't think it's necessarily baseball stadiums, but I think it's really neat when you can go into some place and that there's been some really great games played in this stadium for whatever sport it's been in, and just have the history and nostalgia of Yankee Stadium. I think that's as neat as anything.
Just a reminder, if anybody on Zoom has a question, use the raise hand function. We got one more in the room with Mike.
Is not to go back to the opt-outs, but in terms of guys transferring and entering the NFL that were sort of in between or maybe kind of torn about the decision, is it hard when you're sort of in between staffs to have those conversations? And do you think that pushed a couple of guys that maybe were on the fence with the NFL to leave? I mean, and how hard has those conversations been the last couple of weeks for you?
I want to talk about the guys who are here. I mean, we had conversations. All conversations like that are hard, and there's so many good players here. I'd rather just talk about the guys who are here.
All right, Chris Heidel on Zoom.
Hey, Coach Price, thanks for taking my question. I'm here in Maryland. What did you when you got up to Yankee Stadium to practice for the game? What do you guys got to do for the field goal kicking? Because I know in baseball, the field in the right field it's like a jet stream, and every home run goes out like every 5 minutes. You know, it's like a short porch. What do you guys got to do to get ready for the field goal kicking? Because that wind might be twirling out there in the outfield.
I mean, we've played in stadiums before, football stadiums that have swirling wind at times. We'll go there the day of the day before the game and have a walkthrough and make sure Romo hits some kicks and gets a feel for it. But every day, you know, every Saturday is different. So every stadium you walk into, the wind's going to be different. So it's not going to be unique. I think the Yankee Stadium. Thank you for telling me it goes to right field because I don't follow baseball very much, so I didn't know that. But I think every stadium when you kick in it, especially in this time of year, is going to present some kind of weather challenge, and we'll figure it out the day before the game and then the day of.
And if I could follow up real quick, being with the university throughout your career plus JMU and all that stuff, what are you going to teach your kids for bowl preparation? Because I know you've been in a lot of pro season stuff as a coach and a player.
What do you mean?
Preparation, how to bring your how get everybody to group together to win one big game, because this is basically a big game for you guys.
Well, every game's a big game, and when you win one, the next game's bigger, then the next game's bigger. So, the preparation's the same, and that's what we may have shrunk some of the individual work, but the important thing this time of year is the group work, and we've maintained the group work aspect going from 7-on-7s to inside to team. I think it's because you haven't played a game in so long. I think it's important that you do some good against good. We practice ones against our ones and our twos against our twos for the speed aspect of it, not just scouts. And I think that's the important thing.
All right, Gene Wong.
Yeah, JC, is there a sense from you among the players that maybe there's a rivalry among those representing Virginia Tech and the Commonwealth against those in Maryland, or is that not even part of the deal for them?
I don't think we haven't played in Maryland in so long. I don't know if there's a single guy on the roster that was even thought of Virginia Tech, but last time we played against Maryland. Now there's going to be some guys who have a little more motivation than others. Certain guys that are from the DMV area, things like that. But as a team, I don't get a sense of that. I think they understand the importance of the moment, everything that they've been through. For us to finish the season with a winning record, to go 7-6 would be huge, and that would just reinforce the fact of how we feel about this team being so mentally resilient.
All right, David, last one.
JC, I know you don't like talking about yourself, but for you to have the opportunity to lead Virginia Tech as the head coach into one more game, a bowl game in Yankee Stadium, what's it going to mean to you?
I mean, it's going to be incredible. It means I got a chance to finish with a better than 500 record, as Coach Pry keeps reminding me. When it looks back in the annals of history, I'm either going to be 1-2 or 2-1, I guess. But that's what Coach Pry keeps telling me. It's just real exciting. I mean, at this time last year, I was looking for a job. I was out of work. And that's how crazy this business is. Now I get to sit here and talk to you guys and lead my alma mater against this, school that I grew up 45 minutes from. And I'm not gonna lie to you, when the bowl projections were coming out, I was really torn about the chance of playing Yankee Stadium with the connection with the Yankees and playing in the Military Bowl that was also 20 minutes from my house. So I kind of get the best of both worlds, that the fact that we get to play in Yankee Stadium and I get to play against a school that I grew up 45 minutes from. So that's really exciting for me.
All right, one more, David.
JC, you mentioned a year ago you're looking for work. Some of the guys preparing your team now are in the same boat. How difficult has it been for them to balance job search while preparing your team, and how impressed have you been by their ability, I would presume, to compartmentalize and help your team?
Well, I can tell you this: if it's been difficult for them, I would never know. I mean, those guys have gone about their business. They've been professionals. We've had a guy or two miss a practice for interviews, and that's certainly okay and a good thing. They're all good coaches. They will all have another opportunity. You're in this business. You're going to be in this business long enough. You're going to be let go at some time. I was in it 17 years before I was finally let go. So it's going to happen. Whether it happens year two, it's just that's the nature of this business. And the amount of detail and focus those guys have continued to work with for these kids that they care about to get to the finish line has been absolutely amazing.